Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a presentation on a Caribbean island that you probably have never heard of, or even if you've heard of it, you're not sure where it is. That island is Dominica. It's an island in the center of the chain of emeralds that comprise the Eastern Caribbean. It's an island that is green, absolutely green. It's an island that still has lots and lots of that valuable, precious material called water. We have waterfalls, we have rivers, we have lakes, freshwater lakes, we have boiling lakes. Yes, we do. And we are an island that was established by indigenous peoples, otherwise known as the Caribbeans, but properly known as Kalinago people. Kalinago was here first. Then the Europeans came, and the Europeans brought our ancestors, the Africans. And those three people came together, and over time, they have comprised a wonderful kind of tapestry of people called Dominicans. Who are we? Who are Dominicans? Dominicans are people who speak English, yes, but we also speak a French Creole because the French had colonized us for a bit and the English colonized us for a bit, and the island changed hands several times, and so they left us a legacy of English and French. And in between that, we formed our own language called Creole, patois, the same kind of patois spoken in Martinique, in Guadeloupe, in Haiti, and in Cayenne. So essentially, we have created an identity for ourselves. We have created a culture for ourselves. We have our own language. We eat differently as well. You know why? We eat differently because we literally, up until about 30 years ago, we grew most of the food that we ate. The yams, the tanyas, the dashin, the vegetables, the fruits, all of that. We grew all of that. We grew so much of it that we exported every week. We had enough to supply those items to these other islands every week, and we did that, and our farmers did that. And today, that is so important, is it not? That you grow your own food as much as possible. We've learned to use our wildlife in a sustainable way. We have crabs of all kinds. We have 4 different types of crabs. There's a land crab that we use, and we make a crab back with it, using the crab's flesh. One of the most indigenous foods that we had and don't have as much now is the crapaud. It's a land frog. Yes, a land frog, and beautifully smooth-skinned land frog, and we also did that. That became our national dish after a while. And so when we became independent in 1978, Alwyn Bully, that massively important artist icon in Dominica, he designed a flag for us. So that Dominica flag, Alwyn was able to capture our national identity in terms of who we are in that one piece of work. The national anthem for independence was written by another Dominican, Reverend William Pond. And oh, a beautiful song. What a beautiful song. The last verse in particular exhorts Dominicans to come together as sons and daughters of this land and build this land. And today, 2022, 44 years after our independence was, taken in 1978, we are focused. We are trying to remain focused on this task of coming together, unity, so that we can build a Dominica that truly respects and reflects that wonderful legacy of Kalinago, Europe, African mix, and the fact that the land is still green, the land is still clean, the land is still rich with water and rich soils, etc. So the task before us is to reunite, to reconnect, to deepen those links among ourselves, to build on that identity of combined cultures, combined series of cultures, and to turn it into something that reflects in our commerce, in our tourism, in our home life, in our nutrition, the foods that we eat. And so we're trying very hard not to become like the rest of the world. We need to be and are working hard to remain Dominicans, not just Dominicans. And so we want to live up to the reputation and become true nature islanders. Not even Dominicans. Dominica is where we are, but who we are would be the caretakers of the nature that is the legacy of our ancestors. Nature island, nature islanders. Isn't that wonderful? And that way we'll never ever again be confused with any other island, either in the Caribbean or elsewhere. Nature islands of the world. There's only one, Dominica. Although this sounds like a logical point at which to end the presentation, and some of you may be quite excited about what you've heard, but I'm sure there are some of you who are curious, asking to yourself, but how are they going to do this? How are they going to develop and grow this little island called Dominica, the nature island, in a way that's consistent with nature and in a way that meets the needs of the people on the island? We believe what we're going to do here has lessons for the rest of us in the Caribbean, and we also believe that the rest of us in the Caribbean are going to benefit from what Dominica manages to do. Here we go. Let's take the matter of food. We started there. We'll continue with there. How are we going to do this? Well, we started. We've developed a plan for Dominica that has found what are the best places on the island to grow whatever crop it is you want to grow to get the best results. That is called a land use plan. It's called a zoning plan. Yes, we've done that. Several years ago, we had that plan. We have not yet begun to use it, but we now know if you want to grow soursoups, if you want to grow papaya, pawpaw, if you want to grow mangoes, if you want to grow sweet potatoes, if you want to grow any commodity, any agricultural crop, we can tell you exactly where in the island is the best place for you to successfully grow these commodities. Isn't that wonderful? That means that if we can manage to do that here, you can do so in other islands. In St. Kitts, you can do it. In Grenada, in St. Lucia, you can do it. And we all now, as a region, begin to end up putting the right things in the right place. Let's go a little further. We have a history of growing things in the Caribbean, sugar, bananas, cocoa, coffee, but that history of production ends with us growing these materials and exporting them away in a raw form. Meantime, we have a lot of young people in our island and in our region who could be the beneficiaries in terms of jobs and technology applications and so forth in producing these higher value products. So that's part of what we're going to do. We are going to stop this business of exporting raw materials when we can, in fact, turn these raw materials in combination with others into products that we can now export for higher returns. We are so excited about getting ready to do in Dominica. Take the business of energy, power, we call it. Most of our energy is generated from importation of oil. So we have a plan to harvest solar power and convert it into energy, to harvest wind power on the east coast of our island and turn that into energy, to use our water to pass it through a turbine that can convert that into hydropower, and even the waste material from our agricultural product to convert that into bioenergy. My goodness. Then we don't have to import any oil to produce electricity, and our cost of living goes down, and we have a cleaner place. And now we can say to the rest of the region, come along, Grenada, come along, Trinidad, come along, St. Vincent and St. Lucia. Let's show the world that we don't have to depend on them for oil and diesel and gasoline to power up our societies. We have the capacity, we have the raw materials, and we are going to show the world and ourselves that we can do that. Now, isn't that wonderful?